Hello, my name is Nathan Mirsky, and this is my channel, The Digital Scribe. Today I am going to be making a tier list of programming languages, at least languages that I have had some contact with. Um, this is actually like the third or fourth time I'm attempting to make this video. I keep on talking way too much, so I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. Um, Basically, my qualifications for making this list are um, being self-taught in programming, using tutorials, books, websites, and just playing around. Um, I am going to be using a tier list program I've written myself. I'll have a link to the GitHub repo for the program. Still got a lot of um, uh, functionality that hasn't been implemented yet. There's only so much you can do with it to actually modify a tier list, but it can open a tier list. It uses a JSON format for the data. So here is a basic one I've got set up. It's not a pretty program, but it gets the job done. So the qualifications is going to be a mixture of how I think the language is objectively as far as general usefulness and my personal preference, and um I'm but I mean ultimately it's my tier list as far as how likely how much I enjoy using the program and how likely I am to use it in a given project. So, S tier are going to be ones that are both ones that I'm going to would use a lot and I like, and so on. And that's where the more in the middle is going to be I either like it, but I'm not less likely to use it, or I, you know, get use out of it even though I don't really care for it, to F I'm would basically never use it. So um, here I put in QBasic, my first programming language, but pretty much it applies to all other versions of BASIC with some exceptions. That's going to go B tier. I've got a lot of nostalgia for it, but it's really, in my opinion, it's really limited for um, general programming, and it's more of you program for nostalgia. Visual Basic, it's kind of separate because specifically Visual Basic for applications. I've used it in actual a job setting. Um, Even though I've never been a professional programmer, but the point is that I've used Visual Basic for work. Specific again, Visual Basic for applications specifically. That being said, it is very much a niche application. Um, and so yeah, TCL scripting language mainly used for like graphical stuff. Weird syntax in my opinion, and some bad memories from high school. Um, uh, F tier. It's not worthless. It's just each of its legitimate uses, I can think of something else. Um, Pascal. I don't actually have a lot of experience with this. I mainly just played around with it over the years. Um, it's not bad. It's got some good notions, but um, frankly, um, it's like I have a very vague curiosity with it, so I'm gonna put it on C. But I'd mainly use it to just play around with it. Um, the C language is A tier, good solid. The only reason it's not S tier is because C++ exists, and I over prefer using C++. But there's certain circumstances where I would use pure C, and so I'm gonna put that. C sharp. I used to have a very negative view of C sharp, but it's definitely growing on me. Although I need to try it more, but I definitely see lots of benefit, and I'm probably gonna start using it more in the future. JavaScript is S tier, and a huge part of that is just the fact that you can get started on it with just a browser and a text editor. I mean, you can literally just use Notepad and whatever browser you're using, and you can get a program. You can write a program. Some things are definitely harder to do in JavaScript, but yeah. Um, Lua is simple, easy to use, and can be embedded in like a C or C++ program for customization. And to me, that's its main benefit. Um, Outside of that, other things are better, but I'm putting in B tier. Java, I learned just to tutor a friend. Um, it's not terrible, but um, it's like C minus instead of C, C minus minus instead of C plus plus. Um, Python, I sort of a love hate relationship. There's some things about it I find really irritating, but it is fairly easy to learn. It's got a lot of good documentation, and I end up using it. I've used it a number of times for just quick little scripts, and it's decent language. I just like to hate it. COBOL it runs most of the world's banking, but there's really no reason to use it for anything else. I sort of want to like it just because I'm ornery that way. But no, I'm not really gonna be using COBOL in the future. Fortran is also an old language like COBOL, it's mainly used for science. It's got some really interesting things. It's also got some really awkward things. But I'm gonna put it on C. I sort of have some vague curiosity about it, like Pascal, but I mean I'm not gonna be using it anytime soon. Rust, I sort of want to hate Rust just because of the amount of politics around it right now. And the people that love Rust can be really irritating. But it looks to be a solid language. I need to look into it more. I need to experiment with it more. Um, Zig, in my experience with it, has been really irritating, especially the way that they've had compilation breaking changes to multiple systems, and it's like I have 20-year-old C code that I I can compile fine, and it's whereas like Zig though has broken itself multiple times, and it's like no it's no I don't like Zig. Zig needs to grow up first. Figure itself out. Go Go has some promise. I like how straightforward it is, but also it in some ways it's a little too simple for my taste. I prefer the I I still definitely prefer C, C plus plus, or even C sharp to Go, but we'll see. Maybe I just need to learn more about it. NIM's kind of interesting. It's Python like that can compile to C. I just don't haven't practiced enough with it. But I might grow it. It might definitely move up. Um, Erlang also is going to go B. Erlang is a funky little language that I really want to learn more about. It does certain things really nice. Um, R R is really easy to learn, really good for statistics, but I'm gonna put C because outside of drawing graphs and doing you know, statistical calculations. It's not good for much else. I mean, it's really good for that. But I really want to do a strategy game in R for the hell of it. Um, D, I'm intensely interested in trying more D. I'm actually gonna put it in A. I just don't really have much experience with it, but it's along with C sharp one of the ones that I'm more interested in playing around with more as an alternative to do C++ for um, Odin. Odin is a game focused language, and my interest in game programming, I'm definitely interested in learning more. But in what I've worked with it so far, it's got some rough edges that I need to, which I need to experiment with it more to see whether how much those actually matter. So that's my speed run of the languages I at least have some experience with, even if it's dabbling and like mini projects. I'm aware of other ones, so any programmers watching this, if you're gonna bring up Scala or Algol or OCaml or Ruby, Perl, um, don't bring up PHP or SQL because I don't think those necessarily quite fit in the same category. And same thing is like I didn't put assembly in here. Not that I know much about assembly, um, but I don't really put it in the same category. Um, but anyways, so interested in any feedback. If you want to argue about my placement, I mean, can't argue too much about it because again, it's personal preference in this case. Um, but please like and subscribe. Um, I'll have my buy me a coffee link in the description, as well as the link to my GitHub repo for this tier list program. Um, in the meantime, keep learning, keep building, um, you know, keep improving, and God bless you.